America's Mayor Live. And we're on a different location tonight, as you can see, and I'll tell you where we are. We're at the Scott LoBaido Show. I think behind me, you can see one of Scott's wonderful works of art, one of his paintings. It's one of many. Scott is just what the doctor ordered for America right now, meaning he's a painter who paints inspirational, patriotic, wonderful of American soldiers and American military, of Donald Trump. Just sold one painting of Donald Trump for $100,000. And he has one out there with Donald Trump knocking out Antifa. And then he's got a painting of Joe Biden that I would think would go for a great deal. It's a picture of a man standing in front of the podium with no head. His head is missing, which indicates symbolically our president, who obviously has no brain. We all know that. I mean, that's everybody. I mean, can you imagine? The kind of kidding around Xi and Putin do when they meet alone? About like Biden. Like, where do they find this guy? It's got to be. I don't know how you do that. I don't know if that's an expression in Russian and Chinese. There must be an equivalent. Where do they find this bozo? Gee, this is like a gift. It's a gift from Karl Marx. We don't believe in God, so Putin claims he does and Xi doesn't, but I would think they'd be more united around Karl Marx. I mean, basically, he caves into China all the time. So I think we're going to start with TikTok tonight. We're going to start with TikTok because the hearings yesterday, and I've got some cuts from it. The hearings yesterday really made it clear that TikTok is a tool of the Chinese Communist Party. It's an app that really serves two purposes. It spies on us, right? It tries to gather information about us and about our country, and the whole purpose of it is as a intelligence tool of the Chinese Communist Party. And I don't know Ted, how many people go on TikTok? Like, it's millions and millions and millions and millions of people.
They say in America 150 million.
Okay, I mean that's pretty much half our population, right? A little less than half our population. In particular, our children, right? So number one, it should be banned because it's being used to spy on us. But of course, we know that Biden helped the Chinese spy on us. For example, when the balloon showed up, which was basically intelligence vehicle to photograph our military installations, in particular nuclear installations. Rather than stop it, we escorted it throughout the United States so they could get really good pictures of our nuclear facilities. We patiently waited for them to complete their photographic mission for the Chinese Communist Party. And only then did we shoot it down. One would wonder, does that mean our president is compromised? Oh, how could you say that? I mean, just because he got $31 million from him and has been lying about it. It's coming out in dribs and drabs, but I want to get you to the final result quickly. It's going to add up. I told you this a long time ago, right? Then the congressman put out the first million and the second million. Now he's put out another 4.9 million. What are we up to? We're up to about 8. Yesterday, if you listen to my radio show, I had Miranda Devine on, and along with Schweiker, the three of them, two of them and I probably know the most about this from the hard drive and then the additional research they've both done. So the three, if you put the three of us together, I would conservatively say that in 5 years, the Biden crime family got $31+ million from Red China, specifically from Chinese communists. Now, how do we know they're Chinese communists? Well, one good way we know a lot of stuff is Hunter Biden tells us. Oh, yeah, you don't have to guess here. There's no guesswork is necessary. He had two partners, Patrick Ho and Yi Jianming, similar to a name similar to the dictator of China. He describes them in the text as follows. One is the spy chief of China, that's Patrick Ho, and the other he describes as the richest man in China and one of the most powerful members of the Chinese Communist Party. So these are the people providing money to the Biden crime family. Like you probably remember last week, Congressman Comer put out, what was it, a couple $1 million that was spread to 4 Biden family members. Hunter Biden, James Biden, Haley Biden, and just a Biden with no first name. We don't know who that last one is yet. And I don't know who that last one is yet. I've got an educated guess, but so that money got spread around, to the uncle, who's a bag man for Joe, to Hunter, who's a bag man for Joe, Haley, who was his wife, who he was having an affair with, and smoking pot constantly, and doing all kinds of things you shouldn't be doing in a home, 2 minor children. The kinds of things that lead to a psychiatrist banning him from the house. Although he denies that, he then admits to his father that he's a danger to the children. That's what we're dealing with here, with this family. And we're also dealing with a family that got an extraordinary amount of money from China. And I do believe it's going to go up beyond 31 million. But having had that hard drive now for 2 years and having studied it probably as carefully as anyone, I can guarantee you 31 million. The current account in money in the bank that Coomer puts it out like piecemeal, is 8 million. I think Coomer's, if I may say so, I think strategy is, death by 1,000 cuts. He could probably put out the whole thing all at once. But the media would bury it, right? I fully suspect that all this stuff about investigating Trump and arresting Trump, and they got 2 better cases than the one in New York. I think this is all about the fact that all this stuff about Biden is coming out now, and they're trying to bury it. Historic. This is, without any doubt, by far the worst corruption we've ever seen in an American president. There's nobody close. There's nobody. Teapot Dome was the kind of thing that Alvin Bragg would let everybody go free. I mean, it was only, a few $100,000 or a few $1 million. You can steal that. That's no problem. In fact, originally Alvin Bragg wanted to let armed robbers go free if they didn't shoot anybody. So, I mean, you could run around, do 10, 12 armed robberies, no problem. And then if you shot somebody, you'd probably do 2 days in jail, 3 days in jail. I mean, the guy is a complete monster. I mean, 52% of the felonies brought in by the NYPD, the best police department in the world, get shot down. 52%. And Trump is the only case, I think, ever that he took from a misdemeanor and trying to make it a felony. Because Trump committed the very serious crime of, he says, falsifying a business entry. Now, come on. Trump's not an accountant. You actually think he entered the NDA in the books of the company? That statute is meant to apply to false entries by the people in charge of business records. So question number 1 is, the law doesn't apply to what Trump did if he did it. Number 2, what's false about it? I mean, the NDA is meant to be kind of a euphemistic document to protect the purpose of it. So one could say it really isn't a false document. I'm not going to say it was intended to be a false document. It's intended to be a difficult document to decipher to protect the reputations of the two people involved. That's what the one guy is paying for and the other one is giving up her claim for. So I'd say the case gets dismissed because the misdemeanor statute doesn't apply. I'll give you another reason why the case gets dismissed. That misdemeanor statute, you got to prosecute within 2 years of the time of occurrence. Now, what, 7 years? That's called the statute of limitations. I don't know. I don't think you can find even a crazy liberal judge that isn't going to apply the statute of limitations. So Bragg is faced with that problem. So here's what that crooked guy does. He says, oh, no, there's another law that makes it a felony if you enter a false business record in order to assist in committing a felony. And the felony is a illegal campaign contribution. Well, here are the problems with that. The felony is a federal crime. The New York State legislature cannot pass a law embracing a federal felony. They don't have the jurisdiction. We are a country still of laws. So you have to use a state felony. There is no such state felony. Also, by the way, that's a 5-year statute of limitation. This whole thing ended in 2017, which is more than 5 years ago. So I don't know how he's going to get around that statute of limitations. And finally, the Federal Election Commission and the vast majority of lawyers and law professors don't believe that it's a campaign contribution because there's a personal reason for it as well as political. The personal reason is to protect your reputation, to protect your wife, to protect your children. This is exactly what happened in the Edwards case. Case was thrown out. So I just gave you like 5 reasons why the case will be thrown out. There are about 5 more. I'm not going to bore you with it. So you say, why would he bring this case? Because it's a political prosecution. And when you can bring political prosecutions, we now live in a fascist state. That's what Nazi Germany did. That's what communist Russia did. That's what communist China does. They prosecute their political enemies on false charges. And they've been going after him, let's face it, on false charges from the day they invented Russian collusion. And just one last thought about that, and the irony of it is that Hillary Clinton actually, if this is a crime, actually committed it, as usual. Just like, they're going after him for Russian collusion, and she was colluding with the Ukrainians, and he wasn't. Hillary Clinton paid $1.1 million for the Steele affidavit, the Steele dossier, which is entirely false and is campaign oppo research, right? And it was used to try to prevent him from getting elected and then to try to get him out of office. In other words, it was used for a political purpose. No personal thing involved here. That's $1.1 million. That's a campaign. That is a campaign contribution. And then she disguised it as legal fees. So she actually committed these crimes that Bragg has put together, but no thought of arresting her or prosecuting her because she's a queen. She's above prosecution. She's a Clinton. And the Bidens, they can take $31 million from the Chinese communists and $4 or $5 million from the Russians and $8 million from crooks in Ukraine. And they can sell his office for 30 years. That's okay. Hey, got to make a little money in public office. But if you're a Republican, I don't know, if you don't pay your parking ticket, you get executed. So got to stop, doesn't it? It's got to. If we're going to bring this country together, the only way we're going to bring it together is by having equal prosecution. So we got a great group of people here now, and they're all patriots. They're all patriots because I think they'd agree that Scott Lebedo really brings out
ugly out there, Mayor.
So what made you do the warehouse, and when did you start?
Well, in 2016, we were excited about Donald Trump when he first started announcing, and we found it almost entertaining. And so we were watching it.
Him?
Yeah, Donald Trump.
Oh, tomorrow night's gonna be a blast.
Oh, I can't wait. We show it at the warehouse. You know, we show his rallies at the warehouse every time.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night just to be entertained beyond the politics.
It is so interesting that you said, because that's exactly
He's
what it was.
become
I
like
found him
it's like, I don't know, you're too young for the. It's like the Ed Sullivan Show, except Ed Sullivan wasn't funny.
No, it's
Yeah,
I
I
hear
go
what
get
you're
people
saying.
to be funny. Trump is funny.
Yeah,
Then he
Trump-
brings people on, and they're sometimes they're heartwarming, and sometimes it's very serious, and sometimes it's very funny.
Donald Trump is one of the greatest men on earth. I honestly believe that Jesus Christ has picked him specifically to go out there and help us. And when in 2016, I was working in a terrible city called Baltimore. You might heard about that disgusting.
Enormous numbers of crime run by Democrats forever and ever, including Pelosi's father was the mayor. D'Alessandro was the mayor of it.
Well, Mayor, one night in 2016, I was down and doing a moving job because I am a moving man. That's why they call me Joe the Box. I would pick things up and put them down, and I would move people, and I was the best at it. My father taught me to be the best at everything you do, and that's why the warehouse came from, because I was storing furniture and I was storing things in the warehouse. And then when in 2016 in Baltimore, fentanyl took my brother's son, who was with me on the job.
Oh my God!
Fentanyl killed that boy at 24 years old, Joseph Louis Verteber, an angel right now. And he is guiding me and my twin brother, John, every day to get up and to stop what's happening to that border.
You have no idea the energy this man has.
And this is
no
why,
idea, right?
Mayor Rudy. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. But this
His
is
wife too.
my
She
beautiful
doesn't
wife,
she doesn't
Tony. And Tony and I, we joined up with the America Project. Mayor, I'm sure you're familiar with the America Project.
Yep.
Our new president is Tom Homan, and they want to close the border. They want to start this fentanyl that killed our boy. They want to stop it. I got beautiful friends behind me, ambassadors to the warehouse, Margie and Matt Kochman. They too had lost two of their sons in a 9-month period of time. This fentanyl is so dangerous and so bad. We need Tom Homan. We need the America Project. So we're going around from town to town, border to border. Watertown, New York. That's not a border town, is it? Yes, it is. New York is a border town
they're
as well.
using, and we see every day it increases. They're using the Canadian border. They're even flying up from Mexico, which tells you these guys are not like just ordinary
No, it's a
illegal
professional operation
migrants.
going on.
We're getting some very dangerous people coming in.
Well,
These
clearly
people they fly from Mexico to Canada because they can get in there easier. I don't really know why. I would think maybe these are people trying to get around some of the cartels so they can do their own fentanyl. Because I
I'm
mean,
not-
basically, the only barrier to coming into the United States right now are the Mexican cartels.
correct. They own the border.
They are what we would call the gatekeepers.
They might even be involved in some of our politicians, Mayor Rudy. What do you think about that?
I have no doubt about it.
I mean,
You're asking me whether they pay off American politicians?
well, I was
I
just
look
down
like
in
a jerk.
Phoenix with the America Project. We went down to Phoenix, and
It's stupid.
we met with so many people over there, and I don't believe that the American people want this to happen to their children.
Of course not. I mean, this is directly attributable. The level of it is directly attributable to Joe Biden. I mean, this is Biden's crime. The deaths are attributable to Biden. This cannot happen unless you can cross that border. Comes from China. China is the ultimate source of about 98% of it.
Yeah, they create these
Making a fortune, by the way.
they create the drugs that to create fentanyl. They send the
And then they-
base into Mexico, and then Mexico mixes it in
Exactly
their
right.
in their mills,
Right.
and they distribute it through the porous border, Joe Biden porous border.
Yeah, and the more porous the border is, the more fentanyl comes in. So the last 3 years of Joe Biden's presidency, we set record after record after record. He's making all prior presidents look, good. Actually, they had the problem, but it was half the problem, a third of the problem. We're getting people killed left and right.
Do you think that, Mayor? Do you think that? I mean, I remember hearing Biden say one time that, "Come on, folk, the Chinese people," and I believe there are some good Chinese Americans and Chinese
Many.
American people, but I got to tell you, this CCP is bad news.
Well-
I think and they're not good folk. They are terrible. They are evil people.
They're only 10, well, they're less than 10% of the Chinese people. So China, in China, to be a member of the CCP, you really have to understand communism, because communism is about as dishonest and evil as you can get. If you're a member of the Communist Party, you're a rich person. You are a member of the aristocracy. There are only 100 million, only because there are 1.4 billion Chinese. 100 million Communist Party. Everybody else works for them. The rest of China are basically slaves. So I mean, yeah, the Chinese people, less than 10% of the Chinese people are doing well. They're the Communist Party people.
Yeah.
And the other people are subject to, I don't know, if they want to kill them, they kill them. I mean, they used to kill little girls, remember?
Ah.
They just kill a little girl. You can't have a little girl. If they found the little girl, it was like Herod, they kill your little baby.
Do you
These
think
people are animals. They're animals. And I remember
vicious
when
animals?
Trump called the MS-13 animals, and they accused him of being a racist.
Oh my goodness, I don't understand where that
MS-13
comes from.
are animals. They chop girls' heads off and leave it on the beach.
They were pretty big and prominent in Long Island, New York. I know that.
Well, they did one of those beheadings about 7 or 8 years ago in Long Island. They chopped the girl's head off and put her on the beach to establish how tough they are.
Now, Mayor, I think
That's an animal.
I think that the CCP owns President Biden or Joe Biden. I'm not even going to call him the president.
Oh,
That's what I think.
gave him 31 million.
Well, it blows me away how they're so upset about how Trump could do this and Trump could do that. Look what you did. You guys are out of your mind. You're out of your
Let me
mind.
ask you a question.
Your kids are stealing.
Let me ask you a question that just to give people a sense of this. Suppose, let's pick a Democrat and Republican. Let's say John Kennedy and Ronald Reagan. Suppose the Soviets had given John Kennedy's family or Ronald Reagan's family $10 million. They'd be in jail, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they'd be in jail, probably life sentence. I think people might even think of execution as treason.
Well, I don't know if you saw it on the way in. Scott Lebedo had created for you, Mayor. It was old Sparky. It's an electric chair out there that Scott Lebedo created. And we know that you would bring that back to New York and you would end crime immediately.
Of course. I mean, for serious crimes, for unthinkable crimes, we have to have capital punishment. And I'll tell you one thing, for treason, I believe capital punishment still exists.
Well, I think it should apply.
So now what's the difference between Kennedy or Reagan getting 30 million, 10 million from the Soviet Union, and this guy getting 31 million from The Chinese communists, none. The Chinese communists are our enemies. They want to destroy us.
They do.
They want to take over the world by 2048. They've announced that.
They have.
They have now have a navy that's bigger than our navy, bigger than our navy. We have to patrol. We have to police 2 oceans. They just have to police 1. So actually, it makes it like their navy's like 4 times bigger than ours when you think about it, because we can't commit our entire navy to the Pacific. So
Well, we had Fort World War in the Pacific and in Europe, didn't
yeah,
we?
but we don't have. Our navy has shrunk.
I thought
It's-
Trump built it up, the biggest.
He
in the-
tried, and now they stopped. He tried. You can't do it. I mean, to build up a navy takes 5-8 years, right? It takes a while to build a ship. So right now, China has a bigger navy than the United States of America, and there are no plan. And Biden has no plans to change that.
None whatsoever.
No, he has no plan. He has no plans to really significantly modernize the Air Force. He's reversed all that.
Mm.
There's a very good chance their army will pass ours in 2 years. And how about we look at the military budget? The guy's spending money like it comes down off trees, right?
Right.
He's spending more money than we have spent in most of our wars, just giving money to people not to work.
Well,
Our
that's being
defense,
he's buying his votes.
yeah, our defense budget, when you consider inflation, actually our military spending is going down
Mhm.
as China is trying to control us. Now, you can't tell me this. Every decision he makes is in China's favor. And then on the other hand, he got a fortune from China. I just don't believe in as big a coincidence.
He got
as
a
that.
fortune from Russia. He
Yeah,
got
But the biggest money came from China, from our biggest enemy.
absolutely.
How people sit by and we can just say that and prove it, and they don't
let it go.
realize how dangerous this is. I mean, I think we're going to win in 24,
He's
and we
definitely
can.
winning.
But he can do irreparable damage between now and then. That's pretty.
And we can't stop him with the Congress or anything. But
Well, the Congress doesn't. He controls the Senate, so that blocks everything, right? And a lot of them are reluctant to be as direct as I am. I mean, how can they not bring up the fact that he's senile? The guy's
don't know.
senile.
he's out of his mind.
Yeah, I mean, he does things like he told a story a couple of weeks ago in which he said that he was very, very happy when he was able to give his uncle the Purple Heart. And he found out that his uncle was entitled to the Purple Heart when he was at his inauguration, when he was vice president.
Hmm.
And then he went to his father and he asked his father if Uncle, whatever his name is, would come for the ceremony. And the uncle came for the ceremony. The uncle really didn't want the Purple Heart because people had died and he didn't really want the
Sure.
Purple Heart. Yeah, sure. Right.
There's a lot of good people like that.
None of this is true, by the way.
Oh, it's
What
another
I'm
one of
saying,
the
I mean,
stories. Oh my goodness.
How about we start with the fact
Oh
that
my goodness, Rudy.
How about we start with the fact that the uncle and the father were dead for 7 years before he was in the White House? It couldn't possibly have happened unless he did it with the uncle's ghost.
So why aren't they?
Number 2, there's no record of the uncle ever getting the Purple Heart. There's no record of the uncle ever getting the Purple Heart. And plus, the guy, if he did get the Purple Heart, he didn't get it at the White House when Joe Biden was vice president because the uncle was dead for 5 years and the father for 7 years. So now he's communicating with dead people.
Well, we saw that with the congresswoman that passed.
Yeah.
Remember when he after the,
Yeah,
up to the podium?
Look and try to communicate with her. I'll give you another
Right.
one. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one to prove to you that he's senile and is missing a large number of his brain cells. This is when he's running for president. He said, "I remember listening to." Oh, he never talks that deep. He's too weak.
No,
I remember seeing Franklin Roosevelt read the comics on television. A couple of problems with that. Roosevelt died before there was television. So he must have read it from heaven. And the guy reading the comics was, if you might remember, Fiorello
sure I
LaGuardia.
do.
And I know that because I lived in Gracie Mansion and they still have the little hookup for his radio thing. They kept it,
That's
where
great.
LaGuardia would read the comics. I think it was during a strike, like a newspaper strike or something or other, but it's LaGuardia, not Roosevelt. And Roosevelt was never on television, but Jerko thinks he was.
I can't get over it. I can't get over that he gets away with what he does. When I see him on the news, my wife and I get so mad. I was yelling at the TV and she says, "Stop yelling at the TV." 2 seconds later, she's yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
This guy,
You know where I
What is guy?
where I really feel bad? When I laugh. because it isn't funny.
I know.
He's got his finger near the button, but when he does things like he gets his wife's name wrong, or he, he
Why
can't
does his
remember-
wife go fill in for him?
He can't
She does a lot of
remember-
filling in for him.
He can't remember his Secretary of Defense.
Oh, that's it.
He can't remember his name. And then when he gets his name, he gets his, like one time, he constantly can't remember his name.
Mhm.
One time he got his name right and he called,
Lloyd Austin.
he called him Secretary of the Treasury. Yeah. I mean, there's something about the guy, he just can't get it right.
I think he's really sick, and I think he's very evil. Because when you look at some of the things, how about the list of the people? Now, listen, nobody in the country knows more about the evil doings of these people than Rudy Giuliani over here. The book, the laptop that he had, and the abuse that he went through in this country, it's unbelievable. And you know what? It's so true and so factual. This is why I like Real America Voice. I don't know, Rudy, if you know them.
Mhm.
This is why I like the America Project. These organizations are making a point to get it out there, to have these groups, these TV, get in front of the people, go to these different towns all the time to push it and to educate them. Because how many people don't know? They don't know that border's wide open. They don't know that China owns this guy.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah.
He outright lies to us in our face.
100%. I want people to hear about TikTok. I just wanted to hear this. This is a Congresswoman, Kamak, questioning, let me see if I get his name right, Shu Chu, who is the head of TikTok.
He was grilled on Capitol Hill.
Yeah. I mean, he well, let's listen to Shu Chu for a second. Come on,
This is
Shu.
his response.
This is Shu telling us basically that all the information they get is available to the Chinese government.
Today, ByteDance employees in Beijing have access to American data.
Congressman, we have been very open about this. We have relied on global interoperability.
You have access to American data.
Congressman, I'm answering your question if you give me just a bit of time. We rely on global interoperability and we have employees in China. So yes, the Chinese engineers do have access to global
You
data.
have access to global data.
I mean, okay, so TikTok has admitted that China has access to all your data if you go on TikTok. And TikTok is the most intrusive app on the internet, meaning it finds out everything about you so it can mind control you. I mean, they theoretically, in order to sell you things, but how about what they're selling you is Marxism, particularly children. They also their activities, because they put all kinds of horrible things on there, has led to children committing suicide. I mean, this is an extraordinarily dangerous organization. How about this? Well, let's listen to this one. I mean, I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to hear this.
Your word is gold.
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age.
Gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
it's public. So if you post a video, you choose that video to go public. That's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about. Now, this is a real challenge for our industry because privacy versus age assurance is a really big problem.
Look, you keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok here. We're talking about children dying. Do you know how many children have died because of this? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me?
Congressman, again, it's heartbreaking.
Can you tell me how
Heartbreaking.
many children in America have died because of challenges like this?
The majority of people who use our platform use it for positive experiences.
That's not what I asked you.
There are
I
some-
asked you, tell me the number of children, of U.S. children who have died because of these challenges.
Congressman, again, the majority of people who come on our platform get a great
I'm not
experience.
talking about the majority of children. I want to know a number.
Dangerous challenges are not allowed on our platform. If we find them, we will remove them. We take this very seriously.
Obviously, you found one today and you removed it. We had to bring it to your attention.
Boy, people die as a result of TikTok, and we're having trouble banning it. Trump banned it and the court reversed it. Trump banned TikTok. Don't we want him back? I think so. Now, here's what's going to happen. There's a chance Congress will pass a law banning them, because the reason it was reversed by the court was that Trump did it on his own. So Congress now has to pass a law, but Trump's not the president. Mr. China is the president now. So now that law is going to go to him, and he's going to have a hell of a decision to make, Mr. China. If he vetoes it, it will be the first time he does anything contrary to China's interests. The first time. If he doesn't veto it, he's virtually, sentencing children to death and allowing China to pry into all of our lives. We make a mistake and we hit the TikTok app and get everything off your computer. And plus they put horrible things on there. It's the same thing with, it's almost another application of fentanyl. It's an attempt to attack us and kill us, destroy us, demoralize us, and eventually take us over. Well, ladies, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Marina Hoffman. This is Don Clobo. We're from Palm Beach County. We stand simply for faith, family, and freedom. And we're doing everything we can to push against the very forces you're talking about. It's a culture of death on our children. They want to destroy them, confuse them, silence them, and make them passive young people that are not going to stand for faith, family, and freedom.
And how about, so do you have young children?
We do. Yeah.
So tell me about the public schools and how they operate. I mean, I know New York is controlled by the teachers union, which is a communist organization, and they teach the kids Marxism and they try to brainwash them. And then the kids that are in charter schools do like 4 times better. And the teachers union is blocking any additional charter schools because they don't give a damn about the kids. Now, is Palm Beach as bad as that, or is it a little better?
Well, I'm fortunate my daughters are in private school. I would
That tells a
would-
lot,
I
right?
would not put them in a public school. They are not educational systems, they're indoctrination camps.
Oh, that's so no,
They are to tear the family apart, tear the foundation, turn them away from you, turn them away from God. This is what we're fighting against, because my kids and Marina homeschools her daughter, but there's parents out there that don't have a choice, and we're fighting for those children.
so that is a big movement now, homeschooling, isn't it?
It's huge. And
Is it as hard as a lot of people think?
is in a reflection of the poor quality of schools in Palm Beach County is the massive number of families that are homeschooling. And it's a very hard decision to make. For me, it's challenging. I never sleep. I work and I homeschool all at once, but it's a decision to invest in her life and to be in control of her future, to pass on my values to her, because I know that I cannot trust the school system to do that. So that's what you find more and more, especially here in Palm Beach County. Parents that are willing to sacrifice everything to invest in our children
That's right.
because we care about the future, because we care about the leaders of tomorrow.
Well, I think maybe this may have been like one of the things that where they really made a mistake, and it has led to a tremendous movement against them that's just growing. And I think I dated back to that guy McAuliffe in Virginia, when he basically said that the parents should have nothing to say about the agenda in a school. And then you thought maybe he made a mistake. And you thought he was going to clarify it and say, well, I didn't really mean none.
Down.
And he doubles down on it. And now, I mean, I was listening the other day to this woman who represents the National Education Association, the NEA, another communist organization. And she's saying, well, parents are too ill-educated to decide on the education of their children.
Absolutely. And isn't that just a picture of what we're seeing across the board?
I mean, first of all, probably the best parents to select education for their children were the immigrants who couldn't speak English, weren't educated, but boy, they knew their kids needed a good education. You think of the Jewish, the Italian, the Irish, the German. This is how they moved on in America. It was like this obsessive compulsion. Like in my family, my father probably would have killed me if I didn't go to college. He would have killed me. I mean, he would have certainly not killed me, but it was just a given because he didn't get a chance to do it. And he wasn't educated like one of these great professors. Sure as hell had more common sense than any of them. Plus, the ones that are educated to be Marxists. They're not, I mean, you think these people are really educated when they go to Ivy League schools, or they don't learn things that are useful.
I've never been in the real world.
Yeah, they learn how horrible America
Yeah.
is.
Don't learn critical.
No.
Yeah, most of American history is completely warped. We're the worst country in the world. And meanwhile, there's no other country people want to come to but us.
Exactly.
And when you ask them to leave, they don't. Right? If it's so bad, get the hell out of here.
So horrible.
So
Leave.
that is that's what you're doing. You're trying to see if you can. I mean, in Florida, can you get a scholarship? I mean, can you get money from the state to support private education?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked
Yeah.
because just today the legislation was passed for this very thing.
Yep.
So we will be speaking to the homeschool issue in the coming weeks. We now have school choice in Florida, and there's money given to families either if they're at a Christian school, private school, or even homeschool.
Cool.
And our team, our dear friends,
Yeah.
they've worked hard to make sure that DeSantis still held our freedoms, so we can still use that
God
money
bless.
for faith-based.
God bless everybody in Florida. I have been in favor and fighting for school choice since 1995, and fought with the teachers union, bitter fights with them. I was able, and also to try to get accountability for teachers, because I would say you're never going to save this school system if I've got to pay the same amount of money to every teacher. So let's say there are some great teachers and some above average teachers, and average ones, and not so good and horrible ones. I got to pay them all the same. I mean, what business could possibly run like that? What sports team could work? Suppose you had to pay everybody in the team the same, the guy who hits 50 home runs and the guy who strikes out all the time. You'd lose. That's what the kids are losing. That's what's going on. I mean, and that union doesn't give a damn about the kids. Right now, I don't know if they're still out on strike. As of 2 days ago, they were. The teachers in Chicago are on strike because the bus drivers and some other union has turned down an offer of a 28% raise. A 28% raise. I mean, whatever the raise was, why would teachers abandon the children? And then they want to say that they should be making this. Parents don't abandon the children, and if they do, they go to jail, right?
That's right. There's so little trust in parents anymore. Parents know what's best for their children's bodies, for their children's mind, for their children's education. So, I mean, we have to constantly fight back against this. Thankfully, DeSantis is working toward this.
You should cover up your name because the attorney general,
Now.
yeah, the attorney general put you on the domestic terrorist list.
You don't have long.
You better leave her alone, Garland.
If we
I'm going to tell you something. I bet none of you know this. So Garland must have been about a year ago, right? Where he said that where they put out this thing that parents can be domestic terrorists if they bother the school board too much or they did and it sounded really weird. He sort of backed off it a bit, but still the FBI is opening investigations of a lot of parents. I bet nobody here knows what Garland's son-in-law does for a living. Does anybody put up your hand if you know what Attorney General Garland's son-in-law does for a living? You?
Oh my goodness.
Now think about that. He sells CRT to schools. He actually also sells that sex stuff where, about 6 years old, you ask a kid, are you really sure you're a boy? Or are you really sure you're a girl? And maybe we should rethink it. And he runs one of those organizations that counsels children through gender change.
They don't want to ask my
Now think about that. He's making a fortune. So this guy scares the hell out of parents, right? And his son-in-law is raking in the cash. I'm telling you, everything in the Biden administration comes back to two things. It helps China, or it helps make a lot of money for the crooks in his administration. And Garland is just a straight out. Now, to have a son doing that, not even tell us, guy's a straight out and out crook. He wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. Thank God. I think it was Rand Paul or Cruz, I've forgotten, who said, thank God we never
Yeah.
put you on the court. At least you'll be here for no more than 4 years. I mean, the guy is a disaster. A disaster. So we got Scott Lebedo on deck. Where is he? And do we have any observations, any questions for the ladies or?
Yes, a lot of them are two friends here, Marina and Dawn. Our audience is, they're very thankful for what you're doing
Yeah.
on behalf.
Yeah, we are. Me too.
Want them back on down the road.
100%.
I'm up for it.
Wow.
But for the time being, how can our audience stay in touch with both of you?
Look us up. Google Partners for Family Values.
What is that? What is that?
Partners for Family Values.
Partners for Family Values.
And look, we are two moms. Yes,
Yes.
Partners for FamilyValues.com. We're two moms. We're simply standing up for our children. And when you are filled with integrity and you genuinely care about the children, you genuinely stand for faith, family, and freedom, it's amazing the doors God can open to enable you to take a strong stand.
Wow. Well, I have so much respect for you. I really do, both of you. And it just makes my point that parents should be in charge of the education of the children. I don't know when this changed. I mean, that was
We're trying to change it back.
I mean, for hundreds of years, the law, the rule, the human, there's even the UN Charter says that parents have a human right to guide their children up to the age of 18. I mean, even the liberal UN thought that, but that was like 50 years ago. Now all the liberals think that the state should be running the children. Now, where does that idea come from? Karl Marx. That's a communist idea. It's a Nazi idea. Get the kid at 3 years old, 2 years old, put him in the state school and let him become a little communist.
And I think for people of faith listening, we need to remember the burden and call of God
Get rid of God.
to raise their children. It's our responsibility, not just our option.
Yeah.
Well, the number one priority of any communist is to get rid of God. Number two are the parents. I mean, that's the two. Think about it. Those are the two things that would prevent a person from being a communist. God, because of morality and the 10 Commandments, the whole, and the parents, because the parents would look out for the best interests of the children and say, you don't want to live in a world in which, somebody doesn't work, you work, and you have to support them for the rest of their lives, and you're going to be taken advantage of. And the communists, meanwhile, are going to live in mansions like that woman with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Patrice Cullors,
Multiple mansions.
who they raise millions of dollars and they don't spend it on Black lives, they spend it on their mansions. She's a communist. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you. Well, what? Scott? I want you to hear one more on TikTok as we wait for Scott to come up here. There's another Congresswoman, Kamak, taking apart this head of TikTok who seems to me like reports to the Chinese Communist Party.
Chairman Xi Jinping's comments in May 2021 during a communist Politburo study session where he instructed colleagues to target different countries, different audiences with short form video. Are you aware of these comments? Yes or no?
Congressman, I'm not aware of these comments.
Okay. Well, and as was pointed out by Chairwoman Rogers, you have regular contact with Chinese Communist Party Secretary, Mr. Zhang Fuping, who is your boss at ByteDance, correct?
No,
No,
no, neither my boss nor do we have frequent contact.
but you have regular contact with ByteDance.
With the CEO of ByteDance.
Who is, Mr. Zhang Fuping is the editor-in-chief.
He's not.
My colleague, Representative Burgess, a few minutes ago exposed that TikTok and ByteDance share legal teams. You confirmed this, correct?
Our general counsel is
Yes.
an American lawyer,
Yes.
veteran of Microsoft.
Also, my colleague, Representative Latta, confirmed that your parent company, ByteDance, currently can access user data. Yes?
We have to be more
Yes.
specific.
Yes.
After Project
Okay.
Texas, no.
I'm not asking after Project Texas, I'm asking now. Yes.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which
So
means
you confirm
everybody.
that.
Well, Come on, let's just ban TikTok and get it over with, huh? And let's put Biden to the test. I think he wouldn't veto that. I actually think even the Chinese communists would give him a pass on it because they don't want him to destroy himself. I mean, they got a great thing going in Biden. The one thing they must be really worried about, this guy could just disappear. I mean, I'm telling you, and I keep telling everybody this. And Scott, who's right here, has got the greatest painting of Biden. He's in front of the seal, the Great Seal. You see this blue suit, his stupid little tie,
It's an empty suit.
and then he's got no head.
No, but
There's
listen,
no-
people out there, you're listening. It's not a violent. It's just an empty suit. There's no hands coming out of the sleeve. There's no. It's just an empty
I
suit.
didn't realize that. I thought there
No,
was
brother,
just
it's
no
just an empty
no
suit.
brain.
No, no,
I didn't
you make me
with
look
a
like a
hand.
murderer, an axe murderer or something.
Oh, what?
It's just you know him as an empty suit,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what it is. He's
There's
an
no
empty
brain.
suit.
Yeah. See, I actually, yeah, I mean, I've known Joe Biden for 35 years. It's only about 6 or 7 years ago I found out he was a crook when actually whistleblowers came to me and gave me the information from Ukraine. And of course, I was put through hell when I first
Mhm.
revealed that.
Mhm.
The stuff being revealed now, I revealed like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Mainstream media is not going
I
to.
mean, Ted
under the bus.
Ted goes back every time they put something out and goes and gets a podcast and shows the witnesses. But they wouldn't believe it, and they still get hard for them to believe it. But so I've known Joe for 35 years, and I used to say this before I knew he was a crook. He literally is one of the dumbest people I've ever met. He is profoundly dumb, without a doubt, dumbest man in Washington. He is like stupid, but the stupid guy has made like $100 million as a crook.
Right. So he's not that stupid.
No, he knows how to count money, obviously, right? Right?
He's totally stupid. But
How about, and he gets away with it.
That's the problem. They get away with it.
And not only does he get away with it, everybody knows about it.
That is the saddest part. Is that everybody bleeping knows about it and they just turn the blind eye.
And the ones who deny it, they're lying, and they're, even they look like they know they're lying.
It's right. There's even people we know, friends of ours, who were like, "Oh no, come on, stop."
People in the Ukraine, when I was investigating the Ukraine, people in the Ukraine used to laugh at me. They used to say, "How come your people? Everybody in Ukraine knows he's a crook. Everybody knows he's a crook, and all sorts of people in the Obama administration have been stealing money here for years."
It's how they. It's really the biggest problem. Is again, the problem is the mainstream media, which is 90% of the media, right? Am I right about that?
Right, just right. 90% is just about right.
Big tech, social media. Okay, we're not going to talk about TikTok. I'm pissed off at them because I had 500,000 followers and they banned me for life. So I don't like them anyway. So yeah, take them down. Take them down.
I didn't have as many. I had 1.3 million on YouTube.
All right. Oh, big shot. Oh, Mayor is done. Oh, sorry. I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
1.2 million. I go down to 50,000.
Oh, see,
You just took them away. Boom. I don't know. I said something like the election was stolen or something like that.
Listen to me. I'm glad you brought that up because when people, when we started saying the election was stolen and then we all got shut down and they called us traitors, you can't say that.
Killed.
But it was stolen.
Yes, it was.
More than I do, obviously. But what I'm saying is it was stolen because of the media, big tech, the corporation, the social media. They and the feds that we now know interrupted in the election. That means it was stolen.
That's a very good
That's
point.
how it was
Sometimes
stolen.
I really get them and I say there definitely was election fraud. And I'm talking about hiding the hard drive, covering up the hard drive.
The biggest stuff.
And the American people know that. And about 20% of the people that voted for Biden now say they would have voted for Trump if they knew about it.
Yeah.
So tell me it wasn't stolen. I mean, it was stolen, but I'm going to tell you, it was also stolen by phony ballots, millions of phony ballots.
Yep.
Machines actually making out. That's why to this day, they won't let you get the paper. So let's take Georgia. Georgia kept doing recounts and they said, we'll do another recount. They're counting the same phony paper.
The same.
What's the use of doing the recount? So we show me, give me the paper. You can stand there while I have my expert. We had a guy who had a machine His name was Pulitzer, believe it or not. And yeah, and the machine can distinguish paper. So the paper for the ballot that was sent out by the state of Georgia or the state of Pennsylvania, or certain kind of paper. They take that paper, they put it in the machine. Then they take the paper that was sent back, and then the machine kicks out paper that's inconsistent with this paper. And that's the phony ballots that were done in the case of Georgia, about 2 blocks away in a factory where they were being told how many ballots to manufacture.
But sadly, Rudy, nobody wants to hear the bleeping truth. Nobody wants to hear that. We are the maniac conspiracy. They don't want to hear that. And you, the prestige
This
that
is
you have, the
terrible.
knowledge you have, that you know about this, they don't want to hear about it. You're a kook. You're a crazy man.
Yeah, I suddenly.
I mean, you are. You know, you were mayor of New York City. You got to be a little crazy to be the mayor of New York City.
True. True.
Mayor, can we have Scott kind of give us a background on who he is?
Oh, yeah.
What you were doing here this weekend. But Scott, tell us about yourself. We have a little description here, but want to hear from you.
All right, people, if you don't know who I am by now, go back to reading a book somewhere. Come on. I'm Scott Lebedo. Come on, Scott Lebedo. I'm a patriotic, conservative artist. I love my country. And for the last 30 years, I've been painting flags, the American flag, portraits of patriotism, portraits of these woke political hacks, that these beasts that are destroying this country. That's what I've been doing pretty much. And the headless point of ground.
I'll tell you. Tell him. Tell him when you do those quick. I mean, those things.
Speed painting. I know that.
Oh, that just drives me
I
crazy.
do these speed. You know, artists have been painting to music for thousands of years. They've been doing it forever. And there's a lot of cool.
That.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the bungalows, playing in the caves. They did the cave paintings to music. It's a thing. They've been doing it for thousands of years. But nowadays, there's a lot of cool artists that spin the canvases and they do these speed paintings. So I had to compete and I had to come up with something different. So I came up with the peel down. I paint something previously on this cool canvas, something wild. It could be Trump. It could be, the Twin Towers or an eagle.
Yeah.
You saw. And I cover it with white paint. And well, first I cut it out with tape. And it's all tape. It's all with X-Acto blade. It's really difficult. And I paint the whole thing white. And then it's just a blank canvas, like when you see me do it a couple
Right.
It's the Great Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Right.
And then I paint this flag wild in 3 minutes. Paint's flying all over, and I create this beautiful wild flag. But at the end of the song, I grab this little tab and I peel it down, and I reveal another painting underneath it. And it's just
In the middle of it,
Right.
like surrounded by this.
yes, right in the middle of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of, we
Yeah.
raise a lot.
When
of
you put
money.
American flag in the middle, I think I've seen you do like an Iwo Jima kind of thing that way.
Yep.
Or,
Tons, a
or,
bunch of
or,
them.
or the similar Iwo Jima thing to 9/11.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you've done some great renditions of that, by the way. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you have to. I mean,
Thank
we,
you. I
we,
mean,
we are
that-
we are
that-
New Yorkers. People, if you don't know us, obviously you know him. But
Well, thank you.
I'm a New Yorker. This guy fought for New York City like nobody's business. And I just breaks my heart. It is what it is. It is what it is. What breaks my heart is that the lack of common sense that New Yorkers have, that they keep voting for the criminals that destroy this city every day. They keep voting for them.
Me too. I
It wasn't like in 1940 when you did this. This was just a few years ago that you changed the city. You brought it back to its magic.
There's a documentary you should all get called Gotham. It came out the other day. There was a premiere of it. It's a documentary it's called The Fall and Rise of New York City. And it covers from about the 1970s to about 2010. And it shows how we turned it around. Now, the reason I think it's a very good for today is it shows it can be done. No, I mean, you don't have to have Chicago the way it is. But Chicago's a great example. 50 years of Democratic mayors. Every weekend, they have more murders than like Vietnam used to have on a weekend. And it's all black kids. It's all black kids being murdered, 70%, 80% black kids. And they don't care. Obama never cared. Obama sat in the White House for 8 years watching black kids get slaughtered in his hometown and didn't do a damn thing about it.
But we're a racist for thinking that way. When we're up,
No, you
it's
know who are
actually the
racist?
opposite.
They
It's
are.
the opposite.
They're
It's exactly
racist.
what
I
it
mean,
is. It's
I
the
don't
opposite.
take that racist crap
Nope,
anymore.
I don't. I sleep
They're-
at night
they-
like a baby.
They are racist, without any doubt, and they don't really care about their own people. They don't care. I care more about their people than they do. I save more black lives than any mayor in history.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. It's the truth. But you will never get that credit from that side.
Yeah,
But
but
while we're on the subject, I got my art show here tonight that you
tell us.
honored
Tell
to
us.
come from. But I want to get back to what we were talking about earlier. One of my sponsors is the excuse me, the America Project, and these guys are America first. And we were talking about the election and all of that and election integrity. This is one of their priorities. Now, I need you people. Look, everybody, plugs their sponsors when you have something.
No. This is.
But this is, listen, this is, I'm an artist, and these people saw me as a conservative artist. Joe the Box from the America First Warehouse. These people said, you know what? And all these years, yep. All these years that I could never get sponsorship because I was an outsider in the art world. He knows this firsthand.
Wow.
Because I was a conservative leaning artist. The art world threw me under the bus. And for now, after all this hard work I've done, the America Project and Joe the Box, America First Warehouse are finally seeing people like us, creative people. But the America Project, of course, they're for they what they do, helping out the border down there is amazing. But back to election integrity, that is one of their number one issues.
Tell us what they do. Tell us what they're doing about it.
It's
How
listen,
people can help. Also,
you have to go to their website. Just go to America, the AmericaProject.com. Learn about these people. I'm telling you, this is what's going to save this country. People like me, people like Rudy, people like the people in this room, everybody in this room. And if you New Yorkers out there, you need to get to the America First Warehouse. Listen to me. The first time I was there,
I love it.
it's
We're gonna do, of course.
It's insane. It's insane.
Where is Ted? We got to do a broadcast from there.
Yes, you have to do a broadcast from there. This is where we get to congregate. That's the point I'm trying to make. We need to congregate like this. This art show tonight with my artwork. Folks, tomorrow, if you're listening right now, tomorrow is the actual show, 2 to 8 p.m. at the Marriott Hotel in West Palm Beach on Okeechobee Boulevard. You need to be here. Tom Holman's going to be back again.
Oh,
coming back.
Tom is a hero. Oh, we'll be back.
Rudy will be back here.
We'll come back and we'll take some videos for you. So you know.
Check back on all our social media channels.
But we'll be back tomorrow. We'll spend some time here and we'll take some video and we'll do something live.
It's not like nobody wants to see you. Look at this woman's pack. There's people in here. I got an art show in there. There's nobody in there. They're all in here with Rudy Joe. What did I invite you for?
What was it? Give one more time. Give me the sponsor. The sponsor, America. What? The American Project. The America Project.
TheAmericaProject.com. If you want to register for the show tomorrow.
The America Project. I'm gonna. So everybody's gonna go to it now, like me. If I can get to it, being completely ignorant, you can get them. The AmericaProject.com. I put in. How do you like that? Com. I know. You know how difficult it is for me. The America. There it is, right on the top. The America Project. There it is. The America Project. There it is. There's the website. Here, show it to people. Tom Holman joins the America Project as CEO. Wow. Look. There it is. Oh, guys, you just go there, all right? All right, put it up. All right. If you're anywhere around Palm Beach, ain't a bad place to come. You come to this show, boy. I'll tell you, you're gonna be blown away by these by these paintings. You really are. And it's just what America needs right now. It needs paintings like this. Uplift our spirit, get our eyes up. So, Ted.
Mayor, we have with us Rocco. He is vice president, born to ride for 45.
You guys are the best.
Oh yeah, this is the one. This is a picture of me and Rudolph at the La Margo with President Trump there.
Yeah.
They signed it already.
Yeah.
They took care of it. I just want to say he's the greatest mayor that New York ever had. Look, let me tell you something. I'm born and raised in the Bronx. I'm still a New Yorker, but I live down here in the town of Palm Beach. I moved down here about 4 years ago. And I was involved with the World Trade Center, first responder, and everything was great. And we did a good job, and he did an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I see, look at this. They have project, this is project in Watertown. They have a whole thing about the border with Tom Homan, which is really pretty current right now because that Canadian border is starting to become a problem, you know?
Absolutely.
Scott Lebedo art exhibition. Here it is right at the very top. Live stream from the Lebedo art exhibit. Met Club New York. Yeah, they can really get around. I would get on this website and I would really get on this website, make a donation, and stop complaining. Make a donation. This is and join, and you'll find they'll find a role for you, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me what you do.
Well,
tell me.
basically, I'm just a patriot. Like I said, I'm the vice president born to ride for 45. We're a motorcycle organization. We ride for Trump. We go all over the state, and we support President Trump, who's our president. I also belong to an organization called Trump Therapy Tuesday. Okay.
Trump what?
Therapy Tuesday. Okay.
Okay, what's that?
Okay. What it was?
I thought it was those other guys that needed the therapy, not us.
Nah, you know what happened?
Imagine what's going to happen when he gets reelected.
Oh, unbelievable.
Remember, they all went into like little. They had to put them in like little safe rooms, and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and there's the one that's on the board of the bank that went under had to go for some kind of a Shinto head adjustment or something. I don't know.
No, basically what it is we're an organization. We meet every Tuesday at different places, restaurants up in Jupiter, all around, all the way down to here. And we have meetings. We have guest speakers. We had Brian Mast there once. We had a few other politicians. We have regular people, patriots come and talk. I'm like, this Tuesday we're going to be meeting at. We do a meeting, then we do a happy hour. And this Tuesday we're going to be doing up in Duffy. Up off a PGA.
Yeah.
That's what that does. And then again, going back to our organization, Born to Ride, we do fundraisers and stuff like that.
And you support?
We support President Trump 100%. There it is right there. And there's the back of the shirt.
Whoa! Look at that.
Born to Ride for 45.
What happens when he gets reelected? You got to do a 47.
I don't know. We could think about it, but we'll stick with this probably because he was our president. He's still our president.
Does he get a new number? So who got elected twice? Cleveland? Yeah, Grover Cleveland out.
Yeah.
Grover Cleveland got elected twice. So does he have two numbers? Does Cleveland have two numbers?
I believe so.
Okay, so he'll be 45 and 47.
There you go.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
They just changed the name of the Club 45.
Are we going to eliminate, like, cross out 46? Would you say it is without question? He certainly, but we don't know the evidence in the past 100 years ago, but he's got to be the most crooked president by far.
100%. Him and his cronies in Washington.
I mean, whatever other corruption we can think of, even Teapot Dome. Teapot Dome, now in comparison to that is so small. Greg would never prosecute.
No.
Unless it involved Trump.
Yeah, he's just trying to do it just for show. That's all. Because he can't win that case at all. Okay.
There's no case.
There's
I mean,
no
there are about
case.
8 reasons why it's
Okay.
not a
And
crime.
he just wants.
I went through it before. I
He just
get,
wants to do it so he could get the picture of Trump, and they could, all the fake news could put it all over the place.
you know what's happening now, though? There are Democrats who feel that that'll help Trump too much. So I think he's undergoing a lot of pressure. I think he's
Mhm.
getting, and I think the Democrats are split. I
Yeah.
think there are Democrats who don't want him prosecuted.
Yeah, there's a
Because
lot of
they
them up,
say-
upstairs.
Yeah,
It's,
they say this is, I mean, so far it's helped them.
right.
And,
Absolutely.
if they do things like put handcuffs on him, and I mean, people will go crazy.
Oh yeah, they're gonna only help him.
Even people like this are going to say they've gone too far.
Right.
They've gone
Absolutely.
too far.
Yep.
So I think there are Democrats that are calling him, that are saying, "Hey, back off, calm it down." Like they say it's hurting the stronger cases. Well, that's bullshit. The stronger cases are not stronger cases. The stronger cases are equally. They're exactly the same thing. They're frame ups. The one in Georgia, I know backwards and forwards. I mean, Georgia was filled with irregularities. The Attorney General of Georgia, who announced that it was a perfect election, had a report 7 days after the election with 48 massive irregularities in the election by a group that he hired to audit the election. They basically said the election stinks. He had it on his desk, he hid it. He never revealed it when he would go out and say it's the perfect election. And it was only discovered on a Freedom of Information Act request by John Solomon about 8 months ago. So you get an idea of what a liar he is. And that's the guy, I think that's what they want. They want to indict Trump because Trump said, find me 11,000 votes.
Yep.
What Trump meant was there are probably about 200,000 votes that are fugazi. Probably about 200,000. That's what I think. And you can't find 11,000. I don't think, and Trump didn't know at the time that the guy was hiding a report,
Absolutely.
which he never investigated, of the things that were wrong with the election.
Right.
And the press treats this Ratzenberger like he's God. He's
Right.
opposite. The guy's like a complete skunk.
That's the fake news for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Tell him what soccer time is.
1 but as with soccer, right? They always have that extra time, but we never know how long.
Yeah, we have extra penalty. We take extra penalty time, but we never tell anybody. He never tells me how long it is, and then he just cuts me off.
There you go.
Yeah, why not?
And he ran for Congress.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Rocco,
Mayor.
God bless.
Thank you.
And thank
You
you
too.
for watching. Hello again.
Hello again, my friend. So where do we start?
So you tell me exactly why you ran for Congress, what happened, and what you're going to do in the future.
So first, I'd like to say that I was a big supporter for you for president in 2008.
Whoa, thank you. Right.
That's first off. So I ran because we're watching all of our liberty get completely eroded by politicians, and it's sometimes on the right. It's not just the left, and that would be those rhinoceros folks that we call rhinos. And we have to have more real people run, and people that are America first.
You gonna do it again?
Up. I think I'm gonna run for city council. There's a.
This is John Matlin.
I'm not.
He ran in the 11th district, and he's the host of Sons and Daughters of Liberty Radio. That's quite a. I like that name.
Yeah, well, there it is. That's
All right.
Actually, I brought you one of my stickers.
Let me see.
I could send you one of our flags. We have flags, t-shirts. You tell me. It's on the house.
This is a bit of pressure to join or die.
Ah, that's history.
I like it. I like that approach.
That's
Ed?
history right there.
This guy's tough.
But listen, we have to be tough now more than ever because they went from taking inches to taking miles, and they did it really quick. They did it they've sped it up, and people are getting caught, as they say proverbially, with their pants down. They just got caught. They don't know what's happening, And if
Yeah,
we
I
don't-
think that's true. I think the ladies who were here before about the education system, who obviously are on top of it, but there were a lot of parents that are beginning to recognize. But this has been going on since I remember it when I was the mayor. I tried to negotiate with the teachers union. So a teacher molests a kid, right? You know how long it takes to get rid of the teacher? About 5 years.
a long time.
And they used to put them in something called the rubber room, and they get paid. So what I did, because as a former prosecutor, and in my day we had real prosecutors who actually put people in jail, and they were Democrats, 4 Democrats and a Republican, but the Democratic prosecutors were good. And I went to them. I said, "Can you help me? You guys can prosecute these creep perverts faster than I can fire them. So prosecute them, and we'll get them in jail. We'll get them in Sing Sing in 2 years or a year and a half." I would have to send them their checks in Sing Sing because the teachers union would keep delaying. So they were sexual molesting of a kid. They get arrested. They go out on bail. Then I can't fire them as a teacher, but I don't have to put them in a classroom. So I send them to the rubber room. And then what I would do is I'd have the police and have the district attorney just, first of all, fight the bail, see if we could keep them in and get them to trial right away, expedite the case to trial. They'd all get convicted. And they go off for decent sentences, maybe 10 years, 8 years, 10 years, 7 years. So they'd go to Sing Sing or Elmira or wherever the prison was. And all of a sudden, my budget director comes and says, we're paying about 12, we're sending like 12 checks to Sing Sing. I said, what the hell are we sending checks to Sing Sing for? Well, for the people you got convicted. I said, how long are we going to have to do it? Well, about 3-4 years until the teachers union stops delaying the proceeding. And of course, they own the administrative judges.
Yep.
They're all a bunch of communists.
Yep.
And I couldn't get them to agree to higher pay for better teachers.
Yeah.
I said, why don't you try representing the good teachers instead of representing the bums?
Correct.
And they don't. They represent the bums.
Correct. And before I jump out, because I know we're in soccer time, I do want to throw out there. There's a group in New York right now called New York Du Jour Assembly, and they have put Mayor Adams in default of his constitutional duties. And a lot of people don't know this because you would expect that the news would cover something like this. They served him 3 notices, and on his 3rd notice, they actually brought 6 citizens from New York City, brought him to court. They've already had oral arguments, and he might have to be removed from his position, as is DA Bragg. He is in default of his constitutional duty. He's not upholding the law. He chooses what he wants to prosecute.
Well, he announced he should have been removed the first day.
Absolutely.
So he takes the oath. Think about it. He takes the oath of office. I'll uphold the laws of the state of New York. Then he puts out a document saying I won't prosecute half of them.
Correct.
That completely contradicts the oath he just took.
How about trespassing, Rudy? Trespassing. He said, I'm not going to prosecute trespassing. And then people without vaccine passports go to the museum and they give them court dates. They actually try to prosecute them for not having a vaccine passport. Our city has fallen so far from where it was when you were the mayor. And this is the time that we need to get it back. And this is why I say real people have to run. We're watching a system fall apart in real time. And it's us. We the people.
So where are you going to run? What part?
All right, you know what? It's going to be in Staten Island. It's Joe Borelli. Joe Borelli's going to go in. So
Joe Borelli is what?
Joe Borelli is going to finish out his term. He's going to get reelected in November. I will be voting for him. And at that point, he's termed out, and there is an open seat. And I know somebody who goes by the name of John Matlin. That's me. And as Stone Cold would say, I'm ready to open that can of whoop you know what. And I'm going to bring that ruckus to city council where it's needed most, because the day of people, I watched DCAS go in front of everybody. They couldn't give you one number of how many people they laid off, from firefighters to NYPD.
Completely incompetent.
So
among other things, they're completely incompetent.
Most incompetent system. And they kept going,
lazy,
I have to circle
incompetent.
back. That's what they kept saying.
Yeah.
I have to circle back. And I said, what is Jen Psaki doing here? She works for DCAS. What are we doing? So at that point, I do want to say, I hope that if I do get there, that there's going to be a mayor, and I hope his name is Andrew Giuliani. because that's what he is. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I heard a very compelling story. I'd like to have one more guest on.
Who was that?
Keaton.
Megan, come on. Megan?
Hello.
Hello, Megan. You've been patient?
Yeah.
And tell us what, go ahead.
So my name is Megan Heaton. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the love of my life was murdered in 2018. And obviously we have a left George Soros funded DA.
You've got one of the first. He was one of the first Soros.
And it was only about 8 months.
Krasner.
It was only about 8 months into his term when this murder actually occurred. And just the way that it played out, it was a very public story.
Well, you can thank George Soros for that.
Obviously, the whole reason that I didn't know the difference between a Democrat and Republican 5 years ago, if you asked me that question.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst for everything that I feel like that I do now.
So what do you do? Tell us what you do.
Now I'm just an ultra patriot. You know, I just want to spread information, try to educate people.
God
You know,
bless
most people are just looking at the TV screen. They think everything that they're seeing is real, and it's not.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure it was last year or the year before Philadelphia set a record for the
It's
most
horrible.
most murders in the
It's
history
horrible.
of that.
And he's letting them out
One
of
of our
jail. and
oldest
they're
cities.
committing murders again, even killing children, and he's not even holding them accountable.
Yeah.
And it's not just like that case was the only case. No, it was a case that became big because it was a black and white crime. They tried to make him look racist. It wasn't that. I met plenty of mothers and loved ones of black on black crime too.
Well, but it's got to be that the murders in Philadelphia are 70% black people
Right.
getting murdered. In New York, it's always between 70 and 75% black people being murdered. I mean, so when I said I saved more black lives than any mayor, when I took murder from 2000 and handed over to Bloomberg at 600, the 75% of the lives that I saved were black people, and a lot of them were children.
Children.
So when you think about it, when murder goes up, who are you getting killed?
And we're not
75%. So Soros is funding about as big a slaughter of black children as you can find.
And Krasner's
Mer-
supposed to be getting impeached, but I haven't heard anything about that. You know, you hear something about it 7 months ago. We don't hear anything about it now. I mean, he's
Well,
very.
you got a governor.
They were doing the ballot recount. He was telling Donald Trump, "Don't think about coming here." Who is he to talk like that about a sitting president?
Yeah. I
How
mean,
dare they?
what they did in Philadelphia is beyond. I mean, he was ahead by 800,000 votes. I mean, you virtually got to tear down trees and get paper in order to
I mean, I
catch
tried
up.
to sign up to do the
Yeah, there's no
recount.
way. There's
They
no.
weren't letting me in there, but
There's
I
no
tried to
possible way
volunteer
you
and
can-
tried.
I mean, you have to be a fool to think they didn't cheat. You can't possibly make up 800,000 votes without cheating. Yeah, and plus they wouldn't let Republicans within 50 yards of the recount. Why? For fun? No, they said because of COVID. Yet they would allow Democrats there. The reason for it was they didn't want them to see the paper. Remember, I told you can test the paper. There's another thing you can test. A lot of the ballots weren't folded. Well, a mail-in ballot has to be folded. A mail-in ballot, and they were counting mail-in ballots. It has to be folded. So even though our people were 20, 30, 40 yards away, they couldn't see whether the signatures were valid.
Right.
They could see that many of the ballots were like straight, clean pieces of paper. They probably had just been, you remember the guy from Long Island that got caught with thousands of ballots, and they made that guy
or something like that.
Yeah, they made that guy disappear. The
Yeah.
FBI made that
They
guy.
make that quiet real quick.
Yeah.
You know, every 3-letter agency. They're all corrupt.
Well, the FBI, I mean, the top of the FBI is like the mafia. I mean, they make people disappear. I gave them a witness in 2020, January of 2020, who was in Ukraine. She was the chief accountant for Burisma, which is the crooked company that was paying off the Bidens. The guy who runs Burisma, who the Bidens were working for, is an organized criminal. He's alleged to have murdered his partner, and he's pro-Putin, pro-Russian. And he hires the son of the vice president and the company owned by the stepson of the Secretary of State. And he's in trouble, and his company is going to get seized by the government. And somehow, miraculously, the government backs off. And Joe company, Biden's company gets like $8 million for a drug addict who had just been thrown out of the military for being a degenerate drug addict. I have his hard drive. There must be.
I mean, the gun charge
there-
alone, they want to
yeah,
take
there must be
gun
200
rights from
there must
everybody,
be-
but let's go after Hunter first for his
Well, how about this? He
violation in a
buys
school zone, in a school zone.
Yeah, he also buys a gun and writes down, "Are you addicted?" No. And there are pictures of him 4 days before and 3 days after, sitting in a closet smoking crack. There's also a
So he
picture of
could
him.
video himself actually doing that. I mean,
Oh, many.
well, I saw it. Trust me, I perused the whole.
There maybe there are 50 of them. There are also pictures of him driving automobiles with a crack pipe. One of them within a month of saying he wasn't addicted. Now, you got to know there's a 10-year federal felony for a drug addict possessing a weapon. He's guilty of that.
I thought it was 50.
No, it's 10 years.
Something.
Well, it was 10 years when he did it.
Okay.
So it's a 10-year felony. The FBI has clear proof of it. They've had it for 3 years. And they just let him, and they're serious about gun control.
Listen, you're not getting my guns from me. Try to come get them. That's what
I invite anyone, because our audience can't see the big crowd we have here. As you give our closing thoughts, I'm going to invite anyone who wants to go ahead and crowd around the mayor. Give him a high.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much. A great way to go into the weekend, right? We'll see you Monday night and Sunday at 10 on WABCRadio.com. God bless America. God bless America.